We're gonna do retro game tonight. Arcannon suggested I do. We're gonna do
Frontier.
retro game tonight. So let's see if that works. Sorry, I'm just adjusting everything. I think everything's good. Sorry for being late. So I'm gonna show off Frontier today. It's an old game, of which I have not. Hey, look, a Star Destroyer. Which look I haven't played in a long time. So this will be interesting. I don't even know if I remember the keys. I guess I'll look at the instructions. Um, as always, though, please feel free to ask questions about Transcendence or about anything you want. I'm happy to field them. I'm frankly amazed this game still runs. Although to be fair, this game I remember building for Windows NT. Windows NT at the time was kind of the 32-bit version of Windows, and so this is what led to Windows NT, led to Windows 2000 and XP. So I guess if it runs on NT, it's going to run on modern Windows because it really hasn't changed since then. If I ever try to run Lander, which was built on Windows 3.0, boy, that would be crazy. Out of curiosity, does Transcendence use any of Frontier's codes? It actually does not. Part of it, believe it or not, is for legal reasons. I wrote Frontier, I'm going to say 95 or so. And when I started a company called Genetic Anomalies, which I did in '96 with a bunch of friends. When I did that company to do Kronosaur, Frontier kind of came in as part of the company. We thought at some point we might turn Frontier into kind of a real game, but we never did. And when the company got acquired, when Genetic Anomalies got acquired, then technically, although no one really cared at all, but technically this code belonged to THQ, the buyer of Genetic Anomalies. So I didn't want to risk any kind of legal issue. So no, none of the code really went over. And on top of that, I mean, this was fairly primitive. I mean, even for its time, it was a little primitive. So for Transcendence, I kind of rebuilt the engine. But obviously, I mean, the same kind of ideas. I mean, you notice we complain about 120 frames today, but I think this had, maybe 16 frames. I'm not sure per rotation frame, and looks like it's running pretty jerky. I'm pretty sure it was 30 frames per second, but it looks less than that. Let me read the instructions because honestly, I barely remember. It's probably the same as Transcendence, and sure enough, yeah. Down, left, right, space fires. I don't think control fires, which was, and obviously there's no mouse. Tab, yeah, ship status. D for docking. M for map. So all that is the same. G for gate. I don't even know if there are multiple systems here. I guess there must be. Oh, that's something that it wasn't supposed to. Okay, fine. That, I guess, changed. There is no help. Yeah, a few ships look familiar. Like that probably kind of looks like some of the Corsairs. That ship, this flying saucer ship, I stole from Star Control, obviously. I don't remember where I got that, but the figure 8 ship is kind of cool. I don't know. Maybe I'll steal that. Some of the other ships, I think, obviously, are pretty similar. Okay, high scores. Huh. I guess I still got the high scores in this. Okay, let's start. Eridani system, or Eridani system, however you pronounce it. It's interesting. I'd forgotten, but a lot of it is very, very similar. I mean, again, obviously, this was built for 640 by 480 resolution, so nothing like the one that's that we have now. This I mean, also obviously I should say that the game never really was never really finished. So there's a bunch of stuff that just never really worked. Whoa, a bunch of ships are like gating in and out without a gate. That's kind of crazy. Oh, and I can't use control. Uh-oh, my shields are down already? Okay, well, at least those guys were easy to hit. So here's my deflector shield. Here's kind of reactor. Why are these ships? Give me a chance. Give me a chance to Give me a chance to talk. These guys are just coming out of nowhere. You think Transcendence was unbalanced? This is definitely not balanced. Okay, now does targeting work, or do I need a targeting ROM? I guess I need a targeting ROM. What I wanted to show off. There's just so many of these guys. Here's docking. Same kind of docking system, which I think still works pretty well. Meaning, you can extend it to lots of things. Credits, cargo space, whatever. This was something that's not in Transcendence. This was a way to one of the end game conditions. You could essentially buy a ticket back to Earth. You could, buy a one-way ticket to Earth for 10,000 credits, and essentially that would end the game. And so it was kind of one of the victory conditions. It was implemented, but I don't remember if I don't remember how hard it was to get 10,000 credits. I suspect it was not that hard. Okay, this guy's attacking me, so I suppose I gotta kill it. Pirate base. Loot. An unidentified pod. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, nothing special. Every single wreck looked identical. All the wrecks looked like that. But again, looting is kind of an important part of the game, so it's good to do that. The map is tiny. I can barely see anything. And obviously there's just a ton of, things that are trillium rods. That's, I think, from an Acreon. Yeah, so I have no idea. Like that tiny little LRS display. I have no idea what those dots mean, or I can barely see it. In 640 by 480, obviously was a little bit easier to read. All this was a little bit easier. Some master. Oh. Another interesting or somewhat interesting thing about Frontier. Oops, I died. Game over, destroyed. Another interesting thing about Frontier, if I remember correctly, this is version 5. Let's look at a map. I don't think I can zoom in on this map. Nope, I can't zoom in on this map. Is there a Stargate? The Stargate. I think I haven't found the Stargates, but Frontier. Sorry, pardon all the beeping. Transcendence question: will there be another weapon rebalance soon? Some, like homing missiles and radar attacks, are overvalued, among others. That's actually a great question. I hadn't planned to do a rebalance in 1.8, but I do know that I do agree with everyone that homing missiles are overpowered. So I'm not opposed to doing another weapon balancing. What I might do is not like a huge total rebalance, but maybe we can focus on just the tracking weapons. If we focus on tracking weapons, that might be a little bit easier to manage. And it's not a bad idea to just kind of tone them down just a little bit, get them down to maybe I don't know. I guess they're pretty close to omnidirectional in terms of how powerful they are. Sorry, I keep on having. Yeah, I think they're so much more accurate. I mean, I certainly found that personally in the game. When I played the game recently, um, in permadeath mode, I absolutely saw that. I mean, my favorite weapons were tracking weapons, so I'm not opposed to that. Let's see. I'm getting close to something. Nope, planet. I keep on hitting the wrong button because I press M to show map, and then when I press M again, it just beeps at me to get rid of the map. And I can barely see. Oh, this is a friendly station. Oh, Mira Metropolis. That's cool. Okay, so this is the Metropolis. So this is the equivalent of Start in Eridani. Edge of human space, 6 light years away from Earth. That is where Epsilon Eridani is. Chances are that you're confused about what to do or where to go. Perhaps you're so overwhelmed that you're even thinking about returning to Earth. Don't panic. The opportunities are worth every bit of the 14 months of hypersleep and 10,000 credits you spent to get here. Okay, here we go. Probe ships, blah blah blah. Oh, interesting. I don't think this appears in the game. Probe ships first. Oh no, the immense construction. That's a Stargate. Oh yeah, that's a Stargate. For the corporations that could recover from the shock of discovering non-human intelligence, they face another unbelievable surprise. The giant ring like a was a Stargate. Blah blah blah. Yeah, okay. So a lot of words to say. Hey, there's Stargates here. Rules of blah blah blah. The alien builders are the Mohadrin. As one would imagine, rapid growth, blah blah. Okay, this is the history of this is a world building history, which I was so fond of back then. Not that I'm not fond of it now, but I think I try to do it a little more subtly. Okay, God, this is just wall of text. Shipyard. Repair armor. Oh, that's good. Oh, no, I don't need to. Install armor. Not carrying anything. Install device. This obviously was before, well, just a lot of things. Shop. Buy. Ooh, so this is I can buy some better stuff. Although I probably don't have. I have some money. Although not enough to buy this heavy plasteel stuff. What can I sell? Nothing. No, I guess I died before I collected anything. Spaceport bar. Oh, that's great. Man tells you about the Spartacus Battle Arena. Is that there? There's gotta be. That's gotta be here too. I think there is a battle arena. Okay, where am I? Okay, let's keep going. I gotta find all the Stargates. I think it's... Oh, there's the Stargate. That round circle is a Stargate. Okay, let's kill these guys, and then we're done. There's no network topology map, so I can't, see all the systems. I like this mechanic where, you attack the pirate base and the transports leave with all the goods. Oh, there they go. I don't quite get... Is there supposed to be a Stargate here? No, that's just I don't know what that is. What's this? Ah, this is the equivalent of Korolov. Awesome. I can repair. No assignments available. Captain's bar. Nothing. Yeah, this is beta. So one thing I was going to say is this is 1.5. I'm pretty sure, I believe at one point I progressed the game up to version... Wait, am I making this up? I don't think I'm making this up, but I might be. Oh, there's the Stargate. I wonder if there's a bug and the other Stargate isn't painting. I don't know. Or if it's just some other kind of problem. But I was going to say, I progressed this game beyond version 0.5. I made a bunch of enhancements to it, added a bunch of enemies, but I ended up losing the code. I think I might still have executables, but I lost the source code in some kind of hard drive disaster. This was before I practiced good backup strategies. Everything looks like it's so far away. Okay, let's go through this Stargate. Let's wait for these guys to catch up. No, who cares about those guys? There we go. Totally different map again, all procedurally generated. That was, I think, the core idea of Transcendence, of kind of procedurally generated systems with real-time combat. That's obviously still here. Do I have to kill the station? I think I do. In this game, there's no... maybe I don't have to kill it. Nope, just lets me. Fragmentation rockets. ROM Biosoft. Can I use those? Yes, I can. Use item. Use. Technical reference. That's like an identify scroll, it looks like. What have I got here anyway? That's my installed armor, rockets, or that's it. Oh god, wall of text. Yeah, they're talking about the... Yeah. Ooh, that's a cool freighter. Well, not really that cool, but different at least. The explosions are more like splats. Alright, well... Did I already loot this guy? I mean, as you guys can see, there's just a ton of... There's a lot of... There are a lot of UI issues that I think Transcendence over the years, with lots of complaints from players, managed to solve. It's hard to tell like whether I've already docked with some of these things or not. Did I already loot this thing? Did I not? Whoa, that's a kind of funky looking... Dual cannons. Oh no! That was so sad. I was in such good shape. Total permadeath. So now, of course, I'm not gonna. It's gonna be totally different, and I can't recover. That's another thing in Transcendence. You could, or you can. Sorry, I can't. In Transcendence, you can. Restart, but here you start all the way back in the beginning, which is a little hardcore. I want to see how far I can get. Another thing that I'm missing from Transcendence that I wish I had is the map, obviously, as you can see, is static. I can't fly while the map is on, which makes it really hard to navigate. I just can't tell where I am. So there's a lot of things that are just not that great. And this looks like... Wait, what was that? Oh, that's a friendly station right next to Stargate. This guy? Mining colony. Cargo expansion, that's cool. Drive upgrade. Rockets, unidentified nothing that I can afford, clearly. Portable microband receiver. I think this just might be vendor craft. Carbide steel. Bars of gold. Maybe I should steal the ideas for some of these items. I don't know. Oh, sorry, I keep on. My finger memory is too. No autopilot to accelerate time, but the systems are much, much smaller, as you can tell. Here's an asteroid field, which I think is kind of cool. Um, Let me go into the inner system if I can. What what does a star look like? Do they did I have like stars? Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's not that great. Lots of enemies though. Don't know where the next Stargate is. That might be something. Nope, that's an enemy. Um, it's got to be somewhere around here. Although I'd already patrolled this whole area. So if it's not here... Did I miss it over here? No. No, it's not that. It's nowhere near that planet. You forgot to loot the freighter wreck. Oh yeah, I did. No difference between my playstyle in Transcendence and Frontier. I'm not getting any better. But I am wondering where the Stargate is. Is there any other place I haven't gone that it could be? Or are there... There aren't two Stargates there, no. Oh, no, there are two Stargates there. I think the circle is like an inbound Stargate and the cross is an outbound Stargate, something like that. So I don't remember. I think this is the one. I think that's the one I came in on. So I think this is the one I need to go out of. Yep. Nernarak system. Hey, there's that looked like an Earth world. Oh, don't hit anything. Watch your targets. Nothing special about Earth-like worlds, I guess, in this game. I really need to... Maybe I should try to upgrade. Which means killing things. Blow up the Earth like, haha. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't. Yeah, look at my degrees. I can't. There's like nothing in between 45 degrees and... I'm also wondering if everything leaves a wreck or if... Yeah, not everything leaves a wreck. I think that's already destroyed. Stimul injection. That sounds good. I wonder if that'll get confiscated. It might. I think there's some... Again, lots of similarities. Question. How much extra damage capacitor/heat weapons normally do while counter is not empty? Some seem to do about 2x or 2.5 DPS over its base fire rate, while lightning turret does about 6x to 7x DPS for about a second. If I remember correctly, I balanced them based on total time. So, you know, if it can be on for 10 seconds and then has to be off for 10 seconds to recharge, then I double the DPS because it basically can't be fired continuously for more than essentially half its time. So that's how I balanced it. I don't know if that's always the best balance. but I'm pretty sure that's how I did the lightning turret. One of my weapons is a heat weapon that does about 5x damage for about 3 to 4 seconds. Overheating the weapon activates a temporary deadly upgrade / forbidden technique that supercharges the weapon by gaining shatter. Oh, cool! But eats compressors from the reactors. Oh, that's cool. I really like that. That's really pretty cool. That's a kind of a nice technique. So it's basically you're just trading damage for consuming fuel, which is pretty cool. I really like that. I think that's kind of cool. I'm not going to loot that because I don't think, I think like anything else, I can't sell it. One thing about, you know, one thing about this game that's interesting, um, because everything's smaller scale, it's actually a lot easier to hit things than Transcendence. I mean, one of the weaknesses of Transcendence is the screen size blew up, but the sprite size did not really, and so you kind of couldn't really. It's harder to hit things in Transcendence. This is closer to Star Control. Star Control also, for instance, had a limited number of turn facings, and yet it was fine because everything was, the range of weapons was short enough that you barely noticed. You could always find pulsed laser cannon. You could always find a facing that would hit the enemy. Transcendence has that problem that everything's a little bit further out. So I kind of get, this is why not PM actually, sorry, NMS wanted to try out much shorter range weapons and see how they look like. But if you do that, you also would have to change speeds. The other thing, if you notice, that's a cool colony, sort of. Ion weapons and death. Sad. So if you notice, a lot of those weapons are pretty short range. Let me see how far I can get. So anyway, okay, keep reading. Star Control had 16 facings. Yeah, Star Control also had a really cool technique, which I never did. I've never done of zooming in as you get closer to an enemy. I never did that because in Star Control you're only ever fighting one enemy at a time, so you could kind of zoom in. In Transcendence, there's multiple enemies, so you might zoom in, but have these long range enemies attacking you, and that might not be that great. But I don't know. Maybe we should try a setting where the game zooms in when you get close to an enemy. It's not. We should try a lot of things. I think with Transcendence, especially once you have mouse support, you really just want a lot of facings. I dislike zooming in because I keep slamming into the planet that I couldn't see and lose lots of crew. Yeah, yeah, that I buy. Let me read. Someone says, it looks very L-Cars like. Oh, the UI. Yeah, I mean, obviously this was 95 or so. The pretty much the peak of next generation. So that's totally not surprising that's my influence. I'm sure there's some way to game some mechanics somewhere, but at least so far it's been harder to find than in Transcendence. It's a simpler game, so I think there are fewer mechanics to game. But I think things like hovering over a planet probably still work. although I don't think that's necessarily a great strategy. But I think you can kind of hide in a planet. There's no stop button. That's one thing that Transcendence added, so it's actually kind of hard to stop in space. So that might make planets a little bit harder, and obviously, planets are so small that it's kind of hard to stop there. But I don't know if that is a valid exploit. Same convention for Stargate identification for inbound, outbound on the markers. Yeah, it's kind of the horizontal versus angled, or not horizontal, vertical versus angled. I guess that's true. It'd be fun to bring the ship classes in the game to Transcendence. That's I mean, obviously, if you know the Osaka class that Wolfie did, that is definitely homage to this class. I don't know if does that ever say that this is an Osaka class. It might be in some of the help files, but not in the actual game. I gotta kill these guys. One thing that I just think is really, really interesting, and this simple mechanic, I mean, it's basically the star control mechanic of, top-down 2D fighting plus some kind of dock screen-like thing where you can interact with various things. I mean, that simple mechanic takes you really, really far. The only difference, I mean, there's a ton of differences, but the major mechanical difference between this and something like Transcendence is it just expands on that core mechanic of, fight, fly, dock, interact. That's pretty much it. Okay, here's my Stargate finally. Excuse me. Okay. Inner system. Sell. I guess I can sell this because I think that's what I've got. I still can't afford to buy anything. I can't. Oh, I can buy light plastic. Wait, what do I have? Reactive armor. I think I'll stick with reactive armor. Some of these other ships, the help system, which I can't run, the help system does talk about some of these. I think the help system talks about the Osaka. So I don't know. Speaking of which, when I first played Transcendence, I thought I could collide into planets and die or take damage, but quickly discovered planets were passed through for ships, not missiles. Yeah. I wonder if I did that for the exact same reason you just talked about, that I just got frustrated that in Star Control you would run into planets and die. I'm pretty sure it was between that and just the idea that this wasn't. Ooh, I destroyed a wreck. Whoa, this wasn't. I wanted Transcendence not to be kind of a. Maybe I'm not supposed to kill that thing. Maybe that thing can't be killed. I wanted Transcendence to not be a because it has momentum. You kind of keep going. It's not that easy to avoid collisions, and I didn't want, especially at first, to have the player have to deal with dying in a collision, especially because hitting a planet pretty much would be instant death, and so. I think that's probably why I did it. But at the same time, I thought, hey, ooh, they're shooting fragmentation missiles. At the same time, I thought, hey, it would be kind of it'd be kind of cool to be able to use the terrain to kind of hide behind. Whoa! Oh yeah, totally. I should not have gotten into that. That was a cool station, whatever that was. And what is this ship? It's too bad they don't tell me. Look at those tracking mines. I like those. Um, that looks like pretty nasty weapon. Star destroyers. Um, okay. There's my gate. One more question. What separates ancient races from savage races, aside from the latter are enemies? Um, it's a great question because I kind of go back and forth. Sometimes I lump them all together and call them all ancient races. Um, um, but I think that's probably not the right one. Um, One of the races I plan is a standard proud warrior race like Klingons from Star Trek or Saiyans from Dragon Ball Z. Some are evil, but I want some noble ones. Yeah, I got no problem with that. So the big difference in the difference in my mind is essentially the friendly ancient races have agreed to be ruled by the archons. In other words, they have agreed to place limits on their technology and on their reproduction. They don't just constantly expand and expand and expand, which eventually leads to war. They have legal limits on how much they can reproduce. You know what star systems they can expand to, and what technology they allow their people. They are limited, by agreement on technology. The savage races don't have any of those restrictions. Instead, their restriction is that nobody protects them other than themselves. So the archons won't protect them if some race decides they want to kill them, and that kind of keeps down their population. So that's kind of how you find the balance. That's how you prevent the galaxy from becoming so overpopulated that you start fighting for resources. So that's the difference between savage versus ancient, and you can decide however you want. You could have the same genetic race split into one be kind of the an ancient race civilization and one be a savage race civilization, just because they disagree on that particular point, or however you want to split it. But either way, that's how it works. Okay, I know nothing about archons. Yes, yeah. Sorry, another missing piece in part two. Um, oh, there's the Stargate. Sorry, I'm looking for the Stargate. Archons. Yeah, I guess are they ever mentioned in the game? They might not be mentioned in the game, and they will. I will put them in the game eventually, but I just haven't. Basically, the way it works is, like I said, if you think about what is the technology of the what is the maximum technology that aliens have reached, and it's level 20, 21, 22, whatever, beyond. But you can't allow everybody to have that level of technology, because if you do, then again you just get into wars, because now you're starting to fight for resources. So the treaty was basically, every race gets limited technology, but you have this set of individuals, these archons, who are allowed to have the highest levels of technology. These archons are effectively like gods to the rest of the people, the aliens, and they enforce that treaty. They enforce that agreement. So they're the ones that kind of prevent their own civilizations from getting too powerful or too numerous. Every civilization, every race has its own set of archons. Some of them have just one archon. Some of them have hundreds. It all depends on each civilization. But and the archons obviously also will help each other's civilization, and the archons talk to each other and deal with any issues that might threaten their whole civilization. So that's kind of how it works. I don't know if that's I know it's probably not said anywhere in the game, but I will and probably not in a wall of text though. I'll try to figure out some way of saying that without a wall of text. But from a plot or game perspective, it's not that interesting or not that necessary to know this. Oh, there are a couple of different type of wreck sprites. That's cool. Oh, I keep on hitting L to loot, but L is leave. Oh, talked to the wrong one again. I think in this game, if you're docked, no one attacks you, or time stops. Unlike Transcendence, which I kind of like the mechanic that time doesn't stop because just makes it a little bit more dangerous. There's the sun. Okay. There we go. Oh, for heaven's sakes. I think sometime... Oh, sorry. Still distracted. There we go. Okay. Dilorium Solute. Okay. Let me read some more. If Domina is in charge of the galaxy and the Iacrim shoot the player on sight, why don't all the other races under the Core Mind's domain shoot on sight too? That's a great question, and the answer really is that most of the the people that the aliens that you encounter when you go in part 2, they're like normal civilians, if you know what I mean. They're normal people. They're not concerned with kind of the overall strategic situation in the galaxy. They got their own problems, so they don't think of any. They don't have a reason to attack you. Why bother taking the risk to attack you? It's essentially not their job. They're not even sure that this is the right thing to do in some cases. So if the Iacrim are kind of like a tool. They're one of the tools of the ancient races that they use to deal with these kinds of things. So that it's kind of their job to deal with the player. So the other races are like, well, I don't know, not my problem. But on top of that, it's not a hierarchy. Domina doesn't rule everybody, and I don't think this is giving anything away. Domina doesn't rule anything really. I mean, all she can do really is talk to you. There's no reason why people listen to her, but the core minds are just so smart that sometimes they're right, and that's why the ancient races, that's why the archons sometimes do listen to them, to her. But they have minds of their own, so they don't have to do what she says if they don't think it's the right thing. In fact, they may not always trust her. They may not always think that she's doing the right thing. They certainly don't always trust Oricas. That's how it's working. To be fair, though, the game is also not part 2. There's no Iacrim in part 2, which I think is an oversight. I just haven't quite figured out how to get him in there without immediately plunging the player into battle. So I think they'll end up being kind of a random encounter, a presence that every once in a while you run into them and they try to kill you. Ooh, this is cool. A shipyard, I think. And I do need to repair armor. Can I install armor? No. I only have 2 armor segments, front and rear. Are the Exilium humans also tolerated by the ancient races? They seem to imply that they're at war with everyone. That's more their choice, or partly their choice. they at least some of the humans kind of lump in the Iocrim with everybody else. They basically their view is kind of, hey, the Iocrim are trying to kill us. That means everybody hates us. They're kind of not really distinguishing between types of people, if you know what I mean. Not meant to be a political commentary. That's just how they are. And so they kind of they're just, they don't want to have anything to do with the aliens, even this quote friendly ones. Okay, let's go. Does a more recent version of Exist the Frontier? Yeah, it is. It is. Transcendence really is the best version. Like I said, I did at one point have a newer version for this, but I lost it. I lost the code, so I don't believe. I'm not even sure I have I know I don't have the source code to it. I don't even think I have the running code for it anymore. But again, it is academic because Transcendence really is so far beyond this in so many, certainly in time, in person hours I spent on it. Transcendence is so far beyond this. But again, I find it interesting that this is probably, I spent on Transcendence. I probably spent 10 times as much time as this. And yet, all the core mechanics, are perfectly working and perfectly fine here. So it's like the core mechanics don't actually take that long. Okay. Lost the code. Yeah. I guess I should have said the lost version of Frontier is not that much better than this. Although I think I started using 3D graphics, meaning like 3D sprites in that version. I'm not positive, but I think I might have. But in any case, I should have started up some rumors about how amazing that version was, and if only we hadn't lost it, we'd be so much further ahead in Transcendence. But that's not true. Loot, steel drums. Yeah. So again, the whoa, these guys. The core mechanic of unidentified items, again, stolen from NetHack, still pretty prominent here. Oh, there's the Stargate. Okay, let me read more. Part of the reason how I justify my humans in the galaxy is aliens are busy making money. Why kill a business opportunity? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think that's absolutely reasonable. I mean, like I said, the aliens barely know what humans are. Humans are, for most of the individual alien people that. Oh, I died. Oh well, I was talking too much. I guess Stargates don't protect you from. That was, I didn't know that was true. That Stargates don't protect you. Yeah, so I was going to say the individual aliens that you meet, they barely know who humans are. I mean, they know that there's something going on, but they don't entirely care that much. I mean, think about it this way: if a North Korean showed up at a restaurant nearby, it's not like people would like suddenly rise up and start attacking them. They would just say, "Okay, whatever." Right? It's not. We don't. It's nothing to do with us. Basically, is kind of how we would feel. Can you dock with Stargates in this? I think you can. I will try it. It's almost time to go. But let's just try that one thing. There's no cheat mode in this here either. That's another thing that Transcendence is so superior. I can't create more money, or otherwise I would. I can't automatically map the system, or I would. Oh, you can. Look at this. Look at that dock. So I mean, again, not too. The whole concept of interacting with the objects in the world, I think, is just gives you a lot of opportunities. So I think it's kind of cool. How did the aliens know your language? I always had canon that you wore a translation collar. Yeah, I figure it's. I haven't 100% worked out all the deals, but certainly by the time you get one of their starships, there's just AIs running everything. I mean, there's AIs on the ships. There's AIs all over the stations. Every alien has AIs that will kind of do the translation. They have to deal with this for their own thing. And the AIs, of course, are all connected, so it's not like you can't. Once one AI figures out how to translate it into human language, pretty much all AIs know how to do it because that's probably how you would do it. It's like real life. Most people won't care unless they make a scene. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. As long as you, the player, conform to their rules and laws, they're not gonna care. They figure if you're not supposed to be there, then the IACRIM can deal with you, and if they're not dealing with you, then who cares? Not their problem. They're not going to risk their neck out to try to kill you. So, but also, to be fair, I haven't thought through a lot of this. I mean, I started a lot of this from the game mechanic perspective. What does the player need to do in the game to, kind of have fun and have a series of missions. That's kind of my primary design, and then everything else I try to just make sure that I can have a reasonable explanation for why it all works that way. So we'll see. The IACRIM did visit once, so they probably relayed English to the rest of the guys. Yeah, fair point. Yeah, great point. I'd forgotten that. I mean, obviously the IACRIM already know English. Obviously, they spent a lot of time trying to figure it out. So yeah, that's absolutely right. There's a pirate attacking you. Yeah. I'm all up for questions. Last week I started trying to build weapons and other items that match a race's personality. Oh, cool. Cool. That would be super helpful. That pirate was incompetent. I don't think the AI in Frontier is any better, frankly, than the AI in Transcendence. If anything, it's far worse. Although there are some interesting things, like if I remember correctly, you can chase enemies, not just kite them. Although I think you can also kite them. Tons of iridium. That sounds good. Identification bias off. That sounds good. There's my Stargate. What I mean is, a race likes fighting and brawling. They won't have very many weapons that let them kite and snipe. Oh, that makes sense. But they may have more skirming or short range. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's totally fine. Yeah, I also think that's quite a reasonable. Oh man, this guy. That's, by the way, that's smart. That's a smart cannon, or at least it might even be called a smart cannon. I didn't get a rec, so I don't know if it was actually a smart cannon, but it was basically that tracking bullet cannon. Let me kill some more stuff. Their long-range weapons have ammo. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that all makes sense. I talked about this last episode, but this guy's probably not that great, not that easy to defeat. Sorry, let me. Oh my goodness. Even in this game, I think I'm having trouble getting. There we go. Getting all the aiming, even though the sprites are so big, relatively speaking. Oh, jeez. Another one. Biosoft steel drums. I got my shields I guess are almost dead. This freighter I don't think I can take. Oh, maybe I can. Yep, there we go. So what I was saying was, I think it's okay in the game. 12 tons of ore. That's good. Um, I think it's okay in the game to have different races kind of have different philosophies. In terms of, if they like fighting or if they think the purpose in life is to be as good a fighter as you can be. There's nothing wrong with that. There are thousands of alien races. There's always going to be some that are like that. I think that makes perfect sense. Now I can sell. Do these guys buy? Sure, they'll buy titanium. Iridium. Steel drums. I guess I should use those guys. Use item. Front armor, rear armor. Front armor. Powerful chemical. Ah. Okay, well that's useless. ROM Biosoft. Technical reference. Okay, now I can sell. Sell. Cool. Okay. Let's see. Any more questions? So I've haven't made as much progress last week as I really wanted to. Unfortunately, I thought I'd be done. I keep on getting distracted with little sidetracks. But I've made more progress. I've got the Centurions done. I've got a whole bunch of different. Oh, in fact, why don't I take a little bit of time? Can I save this game? I may not even be able to save this game. F1. Yeah, I can't. Oh. By the way, I don't know if you guys. Does this work? Does V work? Yeah, that's a cool thing in the game that Transcendence does not have. I don't know if you guys caught that. It's missile view, which works even on bullets, so whatever. Basically, when I fire a missile or a bullet, I can press V and then just see from its perspective. That's kind of sometimes useful. That's you could certainly do that with the POV command, but that doesn't happen natively in the game. Okay, I guess there's no way to save, so I'm just gonna stop. And let's run Transcendence. Let's see. What do I want to do? Now let's just run it. Also, that warrior race has something called Berserker Armor, which gives the ship plus 50% damage for the 3 seconds when hit, and it generates up to half HP. Oh, yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay, here we go. That that's some of the new Centurions. I think this is either a block 2. I think that's a block 2 Centurion. Um, Centurion M is just a kind of a cleaner white version of it. The differences are really super subtle, so I may need to make them a little bit more distinct, um, but but we'll see. Um, that's the block 1 Centurion. Um, this is kind of what you'll get at the lower levels, and then at the higher levels you'll start getting the block 2, and then eventually the M, and then the player will be able to fly the M. So I added that. You can buy the M if you have a military ID at either a fortress or at a Commonwealth at a metropolis. Although I think it has to be an armored metropolis. Centurion X is kind of a little bit darker. Wait, is this right, or is this the? This might actually be the. I may not have distinguished between this and the Rogue Fleet Centurion. This might be a Rogue Fleet Centurion. Is there? I don't think I can select them because I didn't call them something different. They're just painted differently. It's too bad. One of these days I'm going to do it by. I'm going to do it by. Yeah, I don't think that is not the. That's not that. I think this is the Rogue Fleet Centurion. Let me see if I can find the actual Centurion X. I'll show it to you guys. Hang on just 1 second. I'll show you guys what I'm doing. Hopefully you can see some of this. Let's do a type images. Is that right? Or ship images. Type images. Let's do these first. Let's do hero image, and then we'll run this. I know you probably can't see everything here. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I know you guys probably can't see everything, but this is, I think, what I'm trying to show. Okay, so this is the block 1. That's the block 2. That's the M, and this is the X. So the X is kind of same white as the military, because these are kind of the military ones. This is militia, and then this is kind of civilian. This is just a civilian ship. So you can see that the civilian has the dual laser mounts. I flipped the M to use dual TEV9s. The militia one has a single TEV9, and this currently has a star cannon. But we should talk about different loadout for the X. I think the X and the Britannia basically A, need to be differentiated, and B, I think the Britannia probably needs something better. Like, we might even have the Britannia have the installed missile launcher rather than the pod, and maybe the X has the pod. So I don't know. We'll figure something out. We'll figure something out there. Let me show the. Hopefully you could see. I think you should be able to see that. Yeah, I think you can. Let me also show one last thing, and that's the rogue fleet. So that's the rogue fleet, and it's basically very very similar to the military version, but just painted a black color. So um, that's kind of where I'm going with that. Um, sorry, I can't read the chat while this is up. That's better. Oops. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you guys can see all this, but hopefully it's something. Okay. Um, oh yeah, I should have done Rama because Rama would be pretty obvious. Um, if the pod didn't have so many missiles, that would probably be fine. Given how cheap and light missiles are now, there's no good reason for competent organizations not to be using them on pretty much every ship. Um, yeah, I agree. I agree. Definite proof a CSC is smaller than a Centurion. Yeah. Um, yeah. By the way, I really am starting to do hero shots for all the ship classes. Um, I just it doesn't show up that well in the game when they're in small size, but once the player starts flying some of these things, then it's great. As PM found with playership drones, you really want the hero shots. So I'm hoping this will do it. Did you see this ticket I randomly made a while ago? Let me look. Oh yes, I did. I did, and I'll tell you. I'll just show people. Um, I did, and I actually started going down this road and trying to have an insignia. The reason I decided against it ultimately was because the image is just so small. Any insignia I did just got lost, and you really couldn't see the difference between Rogue Fleet and not. And that's why I decided to just paint them all black. And I think that we'll see. I mean, but I think that ends up differentiating more. And the other thing that this helps with, having kind of these black ships is, the Rogue Fleet probably doesn't call itself the Rogue Fleet if you think about it. That's probably not something that's going to get people excited about joining. But they might call themselves the Black Fleet, if you know what I mean. And so this kind of gives us both a way to add to the backstory of the Rogue Fleet, and to distinguish them. I'm thinking of the Rogue Fleet as kind of, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work, but I definitely see them as not entirely unified. It's all basically a bunch of different cells almost, of captains and leaders who kind of get a group of ships together and decide to leave the fleet, and you can imagine that there would be some stations that would support them and some that obviously would not. So I want to kind of work more on that, but I think having them be the Black Fleet makes it almost more. There's more openings there for things we could do. So that's what I'm currently thinking. But I really do appreciate that 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 design. I really did try. Sorry, I'm looking for where it was again. I really did try to do a nice a nice insignia, but I just couldn't. That's kind of how it worked out. Okay, what else? Rogue Fleet equal Karen Pirates. CSC Antarctica equal Rogue Fleet. Did you see I succeeded at building the game? Oh no, that's great news. That's great news. I love that. I love that. Um, and it proved I was right about the reason some ships started with shields less than full. Oh God, that's great. Um, I love it when you're right about things because it means we can fix something. That's great. I appreciate that. Um, sorry, let me. Boss, I definitely need some debugging help with TBR at some point. I've done just about everything I can think of. See this. Oh, yes, no problem. I am happy to help that. Almost certainly. Yeah, I will figure that out. Let me just. Um, why don't you just? I don't know if you have or have not, but if you can, um, create a ticket on the Transcendence dev pointing to this bug, I can look at it and figure out if there's anything that I need to fix, and if not, just at least to try to um, you know tell you what's going on. Hopefully, let me center this so everyone can see. Um, other than that, let's see what else I've been working on. Sorry for the jittery things. Yeah, there we go. Other than that, that's pretty much all. What are your item rendering guidelines? That's another great question. I don't have. I haven't written them down yet. I haven't captured them, um, and I believe I'm going to end up changing them. Again, the original rendering guidelines were the camera was way too close to the item, so you got this lens distortion where the front part of the item looked huge, and the rear part looked small. So I think I'm going to end up changing it to moving the camera a little bit further back. Not quite as far back as I did it for ships, but a little bit further back. But I know there's a ticket about setting up guidelines for items, so I'll look at that, make sure it gets there. Gotta have that Centurion X ships. Oh, awesome! I'm glad you like it. Um, I'm glad you like it. I'm pretty happy with how the Centurions came out. I mean, I know there's not here in large scale. You can kind of see the difference between them. I wish the difference was a little bit more pronounced in the sprite version, but I couldn't do it without making this version look really clownish. So I'll just stick to that, and we'll see. We can always adjust later. Now that we've got the models, I think it'll be fine. Um, Also, I think I did try that at one point. Oh, sorry, that's talking to someone else. For the Luminous Adventure, I'd make the gameplay more like Star Control 2. There would be a hub world, and the player would go around collecting resources. I love that. I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. Yeah, I think that works. For the Luminous Adventure, especially if you're talking about doing a lot of this in cyberspace, in gray space. Um, that's kind of open season in terms of how you want to structure the world. I don't know exactly what you're thinking there, but you've got a lot of latitude. I mean, cyberspace is fairly infinite, so you could do whatever you want there, pretty much. Luminous objects would drop luminous cores for the player to absorb into a radiant core. Yeah, that makes sense. That kind of stuff makes sense. I love that. Someday I will need to use a modeler and build my own stuff. For now, I'm using George's stuff as placeholder. The extra pure most old school, aside from slightly bigger engines. Yeah, and I will make these models public in the next art drop. These are all kind of core models, so I'm happy to make these public and let people play with them or change them. I haven't yet done what I wanted to do in the engine that I haven't done yet is add abilities for at runtime to change the image for a ship, and that would allow people to have painting variants of a particular ship. I haven't done that yet, but I will. At that point, I think that will open up a whole bunch of new stuff. Um, Yeah. Yeah, ship image variants exactly. That's kind of where I'm going with that. Um, let's see, what else do I want to show off? Another thing I've been working on. This is much less interesting, I think, than the Centurions, but I've been working on some of the freighters. In 1.8, I want people to be able to fly the EI 200, and so I kind of did a hero image for that. Again, one thing I want to show off is here's the old version. Notice how the old version, the camera distortion, look at the camera distortion on the old version. Because the camera was so close to the model, you got this kind of weird distortion that made it look, like it's tapered. But in reality, it's very boxy, just like the EI 500. So the new model I think is going to reflect that, and it makes it look a lot better. Same thing with the 100. Let me see if I can find the 100. Yeah, the 100 is again fairly boxy, but square compared to what it would look like in the old camera settings. Um, how about the ships that don't have 120 facings yet? Um, I think in some of the let me just think about this. I think I thought we did this for all the. I thought we I thought all the small ships now have 120 facings. All the large ships have 120 facings from the HD extension. I thought after we took all of PM's images, all the small ships do. But if there's some missing, yeah, I definitely will do it. Oh, here, well, thank you. Here we go. Um, yeah, here's the list. That's right, the ones that the corporate command one. Yeah, got it. Okay, well, I will do that. In fact, tell you what I'll do. Let's bring this over here so people can see. Um, I will flip this from next release to 1.8, so that it goes out in 1.8. Um, I think that's worth doing. Um, so thank you. Um, yeah, EP has some placeholders. I'll try to get to those, but certainly the corporate command ones I want to get. I want to do sooner. Yeah, EP. I can show you the placeholders that we have on Eternity Port because we do have a list. Um, um, by the way, here it is. Um, you guys may be pleased to know I'm working with some students at T-Tex University at um, basically to help me create a search engine for ministry. So I haven't, they're still working on it. They haven't written too much code yet, but I am hoping that they will come up with essentially a full text searching engine for ministry, and then I'll be able to add searching to this and all the other things. So hopefully that'll happen. So there's not a ton. There's a bunch of ships, but and a bunch of stations, but it's not that bad, I don't think. Still, like anything else, I feel like every release, um, my tastes change slightly, you know, or evolve in how I like ships and stations. So I think when I go back and look at some of the Eternity Port stuff, I think, wow, I really should update some of these. I don't think I'll have time for 1.8 to do that, but I'm sure eventually. Once part two finishes, there's a bunch of stuff that I really want to go back and update. I mean, Eternity Port has suffered from neglect for a while, and it really deserves to have a little bit more attention. So I'm hoping after part two finishes, we'll have some more stuff, more time to work on that. Last question: will Domino powers be updated? Sustain, defend, barely fit the EI 200. Oh, that's a really great. That's a really great point. Um, yeah, it's. I'm gonna have to do some kind of procedural stuff. There is a ticket for procedural shield bubbles. Um, I I I don't think it's that hard, especially. Sorry, as always. As always, the mic's out. Um, I was saying my next project is to try to do the Minotaur class, which is a light corvette, and I want to do that as a um, as kind of a missile boat. But maybe I'll put something on the forums for have people come up with suggestions for what to do because I would love to do that. All right, it is just about time for everyone to go to dinner, including me. So, as always, thank you guys very much. Thank you for watching. Um, I don't know what we're going to do next episode. Maybe we can just do. I don't know if we want to do just an all question episode next time, or maybe not. Maybe we should coordinate with T Tech to try to have a more publicized kind of IRC day / Twitch day. But maybe we can talk about that on the forums too. If not, um, what I might do is I might start up a few other games of either vanilla or you know what the other thing I could do. Um, oh well, okay. I get a couple of votes for IRC days and just some kind of general question. I'm okay with that. If you guys want to do that, I'm totally okay. So I think that'd be great. Um, Boss, I refuse to redo or rename my own missile-based Minotaur. Oh, sorry. I'd forgotten that you had that. Um, we'll have to work something out. We'll work something out. Um, PMS, is that the so-called Athena? I think Athena is. I think. Um, Let me go check. I think Athena was meant to be a little bit larger. I remember we talked about this um, a while back for CSC America, and the reason I didn't want to do the Athena for this particular thing was because I figured that that would be kind of a multi-cruise ship, so that would be something that you would actually crew. Um, Whoops, sorry. Yeah, this is the Athena class. I kind of think of. Um, Here it is. Yeah, I think this might be a little bit more um, higher level. I think the Minotaur class is a little bit lower level. Um, but honestly, I haven't totally worked it out. So you guys, I could certainly use some input from you guys. Um, I don't. It's always good to have better ideas from you guys. So okay. Um, AP could call his ship the Bruiser. It's pretty funny. Um, where did I do with my? Sorry, I'm looking for. Oh, did I close my? Did I close my Twitch? I probably did. Sorry. Close my. Yeah, I think I closed my Twitch chat, but it's okay. We're all about to go home anyways. So thanks again. We'll meet in the forums and we'll talk about two things: the Minotaur and what we want to do for IRC days, or whether I just do a chat session next episode. We'll figure something out. Um, okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, and I will see you all next week. All right.